Episode 18 of Saskatchewan Side A. Hello, welcome. My name is Dylan Bossenberry. Of course, joining me each and every single week for Saskatchewan Side A is local music commentator Taryn Cochran. Taryn, how are you doing this morning?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, one thing I think we should acknowledge right off the bat here this morning, the Sask music community suffering a big loss here this week.
Yeah, we lost our executive director, Derek Bachman, yesterday at the age of 38. Certainly, he was a guy who was involved in the music industry for 20-plus years. Easily one of the nicest people in our music industry. His reach extended across the country. It's an entire industry, entire community, an entire province has been paying their respects to Derek, and talking about all the great things he's done and all the great bands he's helped out. He ran the gamut when it came to doing things in the industry, from graphic design to live stage production, to basically waving the flag the highest for Saskmusic. And last April, he actually was appointed as executive director, and we couldn't really have had a better man at the helm. And it's certainly a huge loss. A lot of people are feeling it, but you kind of have to you appreciate what he did for us, and as a person, he's just a wonderful human being. He's a father and a husband, so family and friends, sending out positive thoughts to them.
As you said, you certainly have to appreciate what the guy has done to the Sask music community and for the Sask music community. You look on Facebook at the artists and the names of the people that are remembering and celebrating him. Everyone from the Sheepdogs to Premier Brad Wall. The list is endless, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's actually it's really wonderful and it's actually beautiful to see, to go online. And I mean, I can't go on Facebook or Twitter without seeing comments about Derek, and people telling their stories and how he impacted their lives. And I think that's unbelievable, and that's how it should be. And it kind of shows you the type of person he was, that when somebody passes, when an entire province is talking about his memory and his work and his contribution to their careers and lives, it's really quite something else.
Absolutely, and one of the artists I'm sure he touched along the way is the gentleman we're talking about today in episode 18 of Saskatchewan Side A, Oxbow, Saskatchewan's very own Mr. Jim Galloway.
Yeah, so Jim Galloway, it's a really great story, actually. I actually heard about Jim Galloway because when you're involved in the music industry, obviously you go online and you start to see, you start to hear about new bands all the time, or friends of friends and stuff like that. So one day, I came across this gentleman by the name of Jim Galloway, and I thought, well, I'll certainly check out his music, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, that's wonderful. He's a great local musician, a great talent. But then I started paying attention, and all of a sudden following Jim online and his online activity, and it was review after positive comment after positive comment, and he's charting on different radio stations, and he's doing exceptionally well. And I was really intrigued to see, because he was getting so active online. And I started to notice, actually, the story of Jim Galloway is quite something. In the late 90s, so I guess it's a good avenue for us to talk about it here. But in classic rock, you had bands, obviously, like Nazareth with Hair of the Dog and these like high energy rock songs. Well, you had a guy like Jim playing stuff like that in a band called White Heat. They were based out of Winnipeg. They're originally from Regina. They're originally called Hypno-gogo. But White Heat actually gained a lot of ground in around that time. They got picked up by CBS Records, and they ended up selling about 130,000 albums. And Jim did exceptionally well. But in the meantime, the band, because at the time the market was so saturated with similar bands, so the band didn't really have necessarily a 30-year career or anything like that. But he did exceptionally well. But it was really cool now, because you talk about classic rock, and Jim has a new album out, a solo album called Good Times. And the cool thing about this album is the song we're going to talk about today, Drown in a River of Doubt. Not only is it a positive, uplifting song, but you look at bands like Trooper, who did a song, Here for a Good Time, where you can have like this happy, this fun, uplifting music, and that's exactly what the road Jim is going down here, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and like you said, he was making waves in the late 90s, and now he's really doing it all over again right here at home.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. On his own terms and as a solo artist. And the cool thing about Jim is that he's referred to as a triple threat. So singer, songwriter, and then also a fantastic showman and frontman. So he's kind of got it all in the bag. But the cool thing too is that he's not a guy that just plays this, upbeat rock music. Not only, the album Good Times does feature songs like Drown in the River of Doubt, and then obviously These Are the Good Times, which is essentially the title track for the album, which is really another fantastic tune. It has some somber songs like Say Goodbye and Leaving in September, but the cool thing about Jim is that he's heavily involved in other projects. He's got Jimmy G and the Cable Guys, who do some tours. He's also in a gypsy jazz trio called Two Sharps and a Flat with with some other really talented musicians. So it's really cool to see him kind of stretch his wings.
And this is a guy that you can just tell from his Facebook page alone that he genuinely loves music, writing it, recording it, performing it. He just loves it and lives it.
Exactly, and that's what really impresses me about Jim Galloway and his career, is that it's blatantly obvious that he just loves making music. And if you ever talk to the guy too, just about music in general, he's extremely passionate about music. And I love the fact that he's helping keep music alive in small town Saskatchewan, and rural Saskatchewan, being from Oxbow. They play a lot of shows out there. He was recently in Regina at the Lancaster Tap House not too long ago, playing with a band called The Project, doing some jazz music and stuff like that. So it's great to see, because music in a small town is a very powerful thing and a very important thing, and something that I know growing up in a small town myself, live music wasn't a common scenario. Living in Regina, there's concerts going on every night. But growing up in a small town, having live music and being having it there and available is very important to the community and to the culture.
Absolutely, it brings the community together. It's like,
exactly.
I know myself. Every so often there'll be the cabaret in Craik at the bar or whatever, and everybody is there.
Exactly, and it's really quite something else to see. I know back in the day when I went on the road, JJ Voss, we did the OSAC, the Organization of Saskatchewan Arts Council tour. What we did was actually this tour, OSAC sends local musicians on the road to all these different small towns, and it's really quite something. You're playing all these all these really cool historic theaters and different venues, but to see that community support, JJ played a show in Luceland, Saskatchewan, which is a population of about 150 people, I think, and I think everybody in that town was there. So it's really quite something to witness, and it really it helps our province grow and our music industry grow.
Absolutely. So back to Jim Galloway specifically in the song we're going to play today, which is "Drown in a River of Doubt."
Yeah, so "Drown in a River of Doubt." It's one of the songs on his album "Good Times" that really caught my attention. It has a little bit of a rock element, but it also is very it's a positive, feel-good tune. And I think your listeners, if you are a fan of songs like we mentioned earlier, like Trooper, "Here for a Good Time," I think it'll really appeal to you.
All right, let's give her a listen.
Drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Be content to begin with doubt, wherever you go, wherever you are. Drown in the river of doubt. Drown in the river. Drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Be content to begin with doubt, wherever you go, wherever you are. Drown in the river of doubt. Drown in the river. Most people don't take well to change, to stay in the game that they used to. Follow a dream on a wing and a prayer, scared of what they might be leaving behind. Jimmy left town when he was a boy, walking his soul over the borderline. If you have a dream, you better take it. Don't break it. Run to the end of. Drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Be content to begin with doubt, wherever you go, wherever you are. Drown in the river of doubt. Drown in the river. Oh, Pharaoh played with Brother John, that's who the devil used to be. Set up high on his mountain with his ears ringing, listening for his destiny. Dog days of summer, way too long, dreaming of the other side. Cut the fall of the unchained brother and flew like a butterfly. fly. Jimmy left town when he was a boy, walking his soul over the borderline. If you have a dream, you better take it. Don't break it. Run to the end of, drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Be content to begin with doubt, wherever you go, wherever you are. Drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Be content to begin with doubt, wherever you go, wherever you are. Drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Be content to begin with doubt, wherever you go, wherever you are. Drown in the river, down. Drown in the river.
Episode 18 of Saskatchewan, Side A. Jim Galloway from Oxbow, Saskatchewan, Drown in a River of Doubt. Now, as you were saying, Taryn, Drown in a River of Doubt, just a really positive, upbeat song. But one of those songs that you think it's done, and then no, it's not done yet. It's going to keep going.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes long. The guitar solos, everything. It's cool because with the song, too, like the guitar solos kind of tie back into we were talking about Jim's previous band, White Heat. They actually, if you want to check out White Heat as well, I highly recommend them. A song I really love is "Rolling with the Thunder." You can find it on YouTube. And their debut album, the album they released at the time that had sold 130,000 copies, was called "We Never Heard of You Either." So a little bit of tongue in cheek, which is great to see. Yeah, so no, Jim Galloway, it's really cool now, too, because if you follow Jim online, you can obviously check out this album we're talking about and the song today at jimgalloway.bandcamp.com. But if you follow Jim on social media, you know, going into the good times, and we're talking about how positive it was and everything. He actually has a thing where a friend of his has a dog named Fritz Fox, and Fritz Fox was actually in the recording studio with him during the production of the album. And if you actually follow him on social media, he's encouraged his followers and fans to share pictures of their pets with his album, and if you do that, he'll actually send you a Jim Galloway guitar pick. So it's a small thing to do, but it's very heartfelt, and it's really enjoyable to see people's pets with the Jim Galloway album.
Yeah, for sure. Not only making noise in the music industry in Saskatchewan all over again, but also, by the sounds of it, making noise on Facebook.
Exactly. And if your listeners want to make a trip, he's playing at Sisters Boutique and Bistro on Thursday, December 18th in Montmartre. He'll be joined by Two Sharps and a Flat. They'll be playing some jazz swing, some high energy Celtic songs, some classical music, some festive music, and you can also hear songs from the album too. So I definitely I recommend Jim Galloway. People check him out in his music. Check out White Heat, and it's great to see such positive influence in our music industry, so it's great.
And again, like you said, show in Montmartre, almost going full circle today on Saskatchewan Saturday, back to the music in small town Saskatchewan, bringing the community together.
Yes, sir. So I just want to say too, thanks again, to K106 for supporting local music this year. And I appreciate the discussion about Derek. He was a great individual, Derek Bachman, from executive director, and he did great things for our industry, and let's, keep moving forward and, do everything in memory of him.
Absolutely.
Cool.
One thing else I want to acknowledge here real quick, Taryn, is our Saskatchewan Side A SoundCloud. We posted a playlist of just the singles that we have played through Saskatchewan Side A so far.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I really, really love it. If you decide, if you're a fan of the show, if you've been listening to Saskatchewan Side A and you say, you know what, those guys are really annoying me with their rambling on and on, you can actually just go to the SoundCloud playlist and listen to strictly the songs, which I think is fantastic. So, because sometimes I just want to hear the music, less talk, more rock. No,
absolutely. I've been the same. I'll think, oh man, I really want to listen to Desert Island Classic, and I'll go to the episode and have to scroll through.
Yeah, you'll have to be like, oh, that Taryn guy's voice is driving me nuts. Where's the song? Yeah, that's cool, man. I love it. And again, too, next week, very K106 Christmas, Saskatchewan Side A, we'll be talking about Christmas music from artists that we've featured on past episodes too. So I'm looking really forward to that.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, we'll chat with you next week, Taryn. As always, pleasure.
You too. Take care.